What's up, basketball fans? Welcome to the Ratch Report. Thank you so much for all your support in my last NBA mock draft videos. A lot more fun. I'm going to be doing this one by myself, but I'm going to be going through the picks, explaining my reasoning why, and I'm going to have a few picks that might surprise a lot of people. So stay tuned. So if you're ready to watch this video, guys, make sure to please hit the subscribe button. I'm running on fumes here. I'm so tired. I wanted to go to the gym, but I decided to skip it just to bring you this video because I know how much fun it is to watch these videos as fans and always to wonder who your team is going to select in these NBA mock drafts. So if you're ready to watch this video, guys, make sure to hit the subscribe button. And with that being said, let's get right into it. All right, so let's start with the Atlanta Hawks. Now, there has been a lot of chatter about who they may or may not select, and I'm going to be surprising a lot of people and maybe even upsetting a lot of people saying that there's no way this player is going to go #1 overall. This player, by the way, has been rumored to strongly be a consideration for the #1 pick. And no, it is not the two as in Matas Buzelis, or excuse me, Zachary Risauche, but this one is going to be someone that is a center that a team like the Atlanta Hawks need, and I'll explain my reasoning behind why I'm going to be drafting Donovan Clingan as the first overall pick. It seems like the Atlanta Hawks aren't very high on someone like Alexander Sarr, and I'm going to switch the screens there really quickly here. As you see here, they have not even worked out Alexander Sarr. In fact, they've gone to France and scouted Zachary Risauche, which tells you, how they feel about Alexander Sarr. So for someone like Donovan Clingan here, the reason they choose him over someone like an Alexander Sarr and Zachary Risauche is simple. They need the center position, but also because Donovan Clingan is a very safe pick. When you look at the Atlanta Hawks roster, you got to realize they don't have that tall, big defensive big man. Yes, they have Clint Capella, but they're going to move him. But he's still not someone that's physically built to stop someone like a Joel Embiid and really protect the paint. Someone like Donovan Clingan can do a much better job of, in my opinion. Also, yes, they have Onyeka Okongwu, but realistically, I mean, he is a good modern day center, but is he someone that you want playing center at all times? I don't think so. So with someone like Donovan Clingan, it gives him a bigger center, it gives him different options. And I know everyone feels like the Atlanta Hawks may just start trying to rebuild by trading DeJounte Murray, Trae Young. But if they get Donovan Clingan, he's one of the more NBA ready players that can come in, really help someone like the Atlanta Hawks that have a major weakness with their defense. And what better player to choose with Donovan Clingan? Again, might be a little bit of a hot take. I'm choosing Donovan Clingan. It also is being reported that the Atlanta Hawks are very, very big on Donovan Clingan as well. So with that being said, let's move on to our second pick here. Now we're talking about the Washington Wizards. They obviously have a lot of holes, as you see there. They got Jordan Poole, Kyle Kuzma. They're very likely to trade, but they are needing a little bit more depth at the center position. Jan Mahimi just isn't cutting it. And when you go through the roster, Richaun Holmes, Marvin Bagley, I mean, you need a future center here. So again, I don't think this should be a surprise to anyone. They're going to go with Alexander Sarr. Again, they absolutely need a center. They need a good one. And Alexander Sarr, for all of the questions surrounding his maybe bust potential, if you want to call it, there's also a lot of upside as well, which the Washington Wizards will gladly take because their management has come out and stated they are in no rush, absolutely no rush to win now. They're okay developing players that will take 2 to 3 years. And this is a perfect situation for someone like Alex Sarr to come in. He provides good depth at the center position. He can also be very mobile, as we've seen him guard multiple positions. And look, like they said, they're not really in a hurry to win now or even the next few years. So why not draft someone like an Alexander Sarr? You could go with a Zachary Risauche. That would not be bad either. But for a team like the Wizards, the next two draft classes are absolutely stacked, and it doesn't hurt them being a bad team. So they're going to develop Bilal Coulibaly. They're going to add to that core and drafting Alexander Sarr here. So this is kind of a no-brainer. If Alexander Sarr, were to fall to the second pick, there's absolutely no question that a team like the Wizards will take him. Now, moving on to Houston, this has been one of the more trickier and really, really trickier teams to kind of predict as to who they'll draft. They traded for Steven Adams because as good as Alperen Sengun has been, they also need a little bit more veteran presence. They need someone that's a little bit bigger. I know that seems kind of silly to say. I mean, Alperen Sengun's listed at 6'11", but you need someone more physical at that center position. So they're not taking a center here. They've also got Jalen Green. They've also got Jabari Smith locked into those starting positions. Amen Thompson, let's see what his future holds. I don't think Fred VanVleet will be there a long time. This is a no-brainer. You have to take someone like a Zachary Risauche. if he is still on the board. I know they got Cam Whitmore, 6'7". He's listed as small forwards, but you can interchange the positions, have one of them playing the shooting guard position as well. Zachary Risacher, again, one of those players, it is somewhat of a risk, but if it pans out, it pans out really, really well for a team like the Houston Rockets. I mean, no doubt he's got some talent there. For all of the questions around this draft, there is a reason why players like Alexander Sarr and Zachary Risacher are being touted where they are. So moving on to our next pick here, the San Antonio Spurs are very, very interested. They have been rumored to be very big on someone like a Stephon Castle, excuse me, not Stephon Castle. They've also been rumored to like some other guys like Nikola Topic, but will they take him with all his injury concerns? I'm not quite so sure. They do need some shooting. I will say they do need some shooting around Victor Wembanyama. This is one of the more challenging picks. I have in the previous mock draft mocked Matas Buzelis here, and when you look at the roster, I don't know what they're going to do with Keldon Johnson. They're trying to trade him. Devin Vassell, they're probably likely going to keep him, or as they stated, Victor Wembanyama is not going anywhere. They do need a point guard. So my logic behind not drafting a point guard here is because I personally feel like there will be one available at the 8th spot. So I'm going to draft Matas Buzelis again. I know there's certain players you could probably take here, like Reed Shepherd, and you can definitely make a case for someone like a Stephon Castle as well. I'm taking Matas Buzelis, no doubt here. Again, kind of shores up that small forward positions. There's been a lot of questions, but I truly believe his upside is good. I mean, how many players can you say that are listed at 6'10" or small forwards can handle the ball that he does? You know, he's obviously got things he needs to work on, but that's an excellent pick. And the Spurs also have another pick coming up shortly as well. Now I've got the Detroit Pistons that need a lot of shooting. And similarly, in some ways, not comparing the two teams, it seems like they drafted a lot of good young players, similarly to the Houston Rockets. But the Pistons here, like they've got Cade Cunningham, they've got Jaden Ivey locked up in the 1 and 2 position. They could definitely, I don't want to say they should definitely, they've got Jalen Duren here, who should be the future center for them. They could use a small forward. They could also use more shooters as well. Might be a little bit of a hot take, guys. I'm going to do it. I have not mocked him personally to the Detroit Pistons. I'm going to do Reed Shepherd. They're not a great three-point shooting team. And although, look, Reed Shepherd is in a position that they already have filled at the shooting guard position, he is an excellent, excellent three-point shooter. He does a lot of things. I feel like he's become a little bit underrated due to his size, just because he's 6'1", 6'2", whatever he's listed at his measurements. He's still able to shoot. He's one of those smart players that you can't teach the intangibles. But like when you think of guys like Austin Reeves, when you think of guys like Alex Caruso, is Reed Shepherd ever going to be an all-star? Very unlikely not, but he's going to be an excellent role player. And look, at this point, obviously it'd be nice for a Pistons team to get a star player, but I don't know if they will get him. And before people say, why not Stephon Castle? Here's quite obvious. He said he doesn't want to be on a team with a point guard, as he wants to be the main point guard. So I'm going to go Reed Shepherd here for the Detroit Pistons. Gives them a lot of shooting, can play off of Cade Cunningham. And look, you need floor spacing there, man. You go through the roster, they don't have a lot of shooting. Now, this one is always so challenging for me. The Charlotte Hornets, I had mocked Donovan Clingan here. Not a lot of people liked it. I still feel like they need another center there, even with Mark Williams, man. I like him, but I mean, is he going to be a star center? What is he going to be? It's kind of tough to say. I'm tempted to go Stephon Castle here just because he can cover some of the things that LaMelo Ball cannot do. We all know LaMelo is great offensively, not so much defensively. This is difficult. This is harder than I thought. You know what? Because I don't like the fit here for Stephon Castle. I don't know if he'll be happy there. And for me personally, my logic behind this, guys, I'll explain in just 1 second here, is LaMelo and Brandon Miller, will be creating most of your shots here. So what you need to do is surround them with guys that can play off ball here. So that can shoot three-point ball really well. I'm tempted to go Dalton Knecht here, but you know what? I'm going to go on a little bit of hot take, guys. I still feel really strongly, despite all the rumors that he may fall out of the top 10. A lot of people may not like this. I'm going to go Rob Dillingham here. Yes, they need some defense. I'm contradicting myself here a little bit, but look, LaMelo's been injured a lot. They definitely need a little bit more depth at the point guard position as well. And Rob Dillingham is a good three-point shooter. You know what? Anytime you get a three-point shooter that can create some shots as well, I don't know. I feel like that can work really well because LaMelo can also play. He can distribute the ball really well. So I think Rob Dillingham is a good pick for them. I know a lot of people will disagree with me. That's perfectly fine. There are definitely a few other players I was thinking of that could potentially go there as well. Now we move on to the Portland Trailblazers. A little bit challenging. Anthony Simons, they may move off of him. Malcolm Brogdon, I'm surprised they did not trade him. DeAndre Hayton, what's his future there? Who knows? But one thing's for sure, Shaedon Sharpe is there. Scoot Henderson are not going anywhere. They've kind of got that guard position locked up. I do not want to draft another guard here. Again, it sucks to see Stephon Castle fall so far. I think he's a very talented player. I mean, if he hadn't come out and said that he wants to be the main point guard on a team he gets drafted to, he definitely goes to a team like the Charlotte Hornets, But in terms of Portland Trailblazers, this is hard. I think they need a little bit more size. They got Jeremy Grant there. They need a small forward. They also need some defense as well. This is challenging, but you know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go Dalton Connect here, small forward, excellent score. They definitely need a little bit more defense, but you know what? You can't go wrong with Dalton Connect, man. You can't go wrong with Dalton Connect. Small forward can shoot the ball well, can score, and gives them depth at the small forward position, which they really, really need, right? So you can't argue against that. I'm I I'm again, Nikola Topic is a tough, really difficult player because of his injury to kind of mock him. I personally think he's going to fall out of the lottery. I don't know if any team will be willing to take that chance with all his injury issues this season. He's had a season-ending surgery. So I don't know how I feel about this. This one's easy. San Antonio Spurs, Stephon Castle. You have to go Stephon Castle here. I mean, the Matheus Buzelis was their fourth pick, but again, you could make the argument you need 3-point shooters here around Victor Wembanyama, but you also could use some perimeter defense as well. I mean, I believe his measurement were 6'5", 6'6". It's showing 6'7" here with shoes, but a point guard like Stephon Castle would be excellent. A really hard worker, a defense first guy. And I had someone ask me in the comment section my last draft video about what do you think is easier to teach, defense or shooting? And I think the Spurs, who have done a marvelous job with Kawhi Leonard, will tell you shooting is easier to teach than defense. And I'd have to agree. I'm taking Stephon Castle here. Perfect pairing for both the player and the team. I mean, you got Victor protecting the paint. You got Stephon really locking up guys. And maybe not so much in the rookie season. He's going to do a good job, but you got another great defender to add to that team. All right, so let's move on to our next pick here. This is a very, very tricky situation with a team like the Memphis Grizzlies. It's reported that they want to trade up to draft someone like a Donovan Clingan. They clearly need a bigger center to slide, Jaren Jackson into the power forward position. They won't get that here. There was someone on Twitter that actually said Zach Edey has gotten a promise from a top 10 team. I don't believe that. It's not Adrian Wojnarowski. It seems like it's someone that's just not a legitimate source. So I'm not going to mock Zach Edey here. This is really hard. This is harder than I thought. And it's so hard with some of these teams because when you look at a lot of top 10 teams in previous years, when you go back 10 plus years, there were teams that didn't have a lot of talent, but because injuries, because you see the same teams like the Pistons over and over again, they have a lot of talent at different positions. You know what? I'm going to go Cody Williams here. I was tempted to really draft Ron Holland. I like Cody Williams here. A shooting guard, 6'8". They could use a small forward. They could use a shooting guard. Desmond Bane, Cody Williams, they can kind of interchange positions there. So it's not a bad pick for a team like the Memphis Grizzlies. The ideal, of course, player would be a center they could slide in. But unfortunately, I just don't think that center is going to be there. Moving on to the Utah Jazz. This is hard too because I feel like I have two players in mind I'd really like to take here, Tidjane Salaün or Ron Holland. They could definitely, a lot of teams, let's be honest, any team around the NBA does not have a lot. I can say for most teams outside of maybe the Boston Celtics because they can interchange Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown there, but they don't have a ton of depth at the small forward position. You know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to choose Ron Holland here. You can definitely go with Tidjane Salaün. I just think this Ron Holland right now, Tidjane has got a lot of work. He's got a high ceiling, but he needs to work a lot. Ron Holland needs to obviously shoot the ball a lot better, but he's also an amazing defender. And for a team like the Jazz, I think you just need to stockpile with any sort of talent right now. Now, this is where things get very interesting because I'm going to choose someone that no one is not only going to predict, but also that no one is going to like. I'm going to have to scroll down a little bit for this one. It's going to surprise a lot of people because he's listed as a small forward. I'm going with Tristan da Silva here. And before people murder me in the comment section, hear me out. Hear me out. I'm not saying Tristan da Silva is the most talented player out of the list of players you see here. The reason I say this because when you look at teams that have drafted in a position they already have, for a team like the Bulls, Lonzo Ball is coming back. You got Kobe White, who had an absolute hell of a season last year. You got Ayo Dosunmu, who's a guard. And you also got Alex Caruso as well, and then DeMar DeRozan. Like you look at the guard position, is just absolutely stacked right now. And I don't think they need someone like a Nikola Topic. I don't think they would love to have someone like a Jared McCain, but then it creates issues. Like think of a team like the Sacramento Kings. You know, they drafted Tyrese, which was obviously a great pick for them, but they ended up treating him because you simply cannot have two dominant players playing in the same position unless they really complement each other's game. And I find that hard, for a team like the Chicago Bulls. And the reason, excuse me, I'm going to go with Tristan da Silva here. He's listed as a small forward. I think he's more of a power forward. Think about this, guys. When you look at guys like DeMar DeRozan, when you look at guys like Kobe White, when you look at even Zach LaVine, yes, they're saying they're going to trade him, but what do they all have in common? They like to attack the basket. They like to shoot mid-range shots as well. Now, what does Tristan da Silva do? He spaces the floor for them. They can play him at the power forward position. I know they got Patrick Williams there as well, but Tristan da Silva, I mean, 6'9", 6'10" guy, is someone that can come in, win right away. He's going to contribute right away. He's a senior player. He is 22 years old. And what this allows the Bulls to do is have Nikola Vucevic, Tristan da Silva, really spacing the floor for you, having your 5 and 4 spacing the floor for you. Imagine how open that paint is going to be. So I think Tristan da Silva, again, I know he's listed as a small forward. I really see him as a power forward. So I really like that pick for them, not because I think that he's a better player than some of these guys still available, because I feel like he's a really, really nice fit there, and the Bulls still want to compete as well. So that's my logic behind choosing Tristan da Silva. And before people say it, they have actually worked out Tristan da Silva as well. I was thinking this a few days ago, and someone messaged me on Twitter saying this the following day. So it does not surprise me. I think when you think of the game like that, it makes a lot of sense for a team like the Chicago Bulls to trade Tristan da Silva. It might be a little bit high for a lot of people, but I personally like it. A team like the Oklahoma City Thunder are going to be very, very excited here. You've got a handful of options here. Nikola Topic, you still got Tajon Salon there as well. They could potentially take him, but then you got Jared McCain and Devin Carter. Now, I'm tempted not to take guards here because they have so many guards. When you look at Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, you got Josh Giddey, who they're trying to get rid of. You got Cason Wallace as well. And Isaiah Joe as well, who's done a spectacular job of just turning his career around there. And shout out to OKC for actually giving him a chance. He was a great three-point shooter, was injured in college, fell a little, got waived by a few teams, made his way to OKC, and has looked great since. I'm going to do the same thing I did last week as well. I believe it was Devin Carter. You know what? I might switch it up. I think it was Devin Carter, Jared McCain. I'm going to take Jared McCain here. You need three-point shooting for a team like the Oklahoma City Thunder. You could always use more three-point shooting. You got SGA creating so many shots there for you. You got Chet Holmgren as well there. You need floor spacers. I'm going to draft Jared McCain there. You can come in really, really, like when you logically think about this, guys, like the amount of players that can really play off each other. Jared McCain, 6'3" guy, can hit threes at an incredible, incredible rate. He's going to be paired up with Cason Wallace, who's a 6'4" shooting guard. Great, great defensive player. Now you got two of these guys coming off the bench for you to replace, SGA and whoever else they're playing at the shooting guard position. That is a very, very nice addition to an Oklahoma City Thunder team. I know they need some space here, but I just don't, it doesn't logically make sense. I'm not drafting Kyle Filipowski here. I'm not drafting other big guys here. So they're taking Jared McCain. Does a great job of spacing the floor. Now, this is a team that is really easy to mock. They have a lot of needs. Domantas Sabonis, De'Aaron Fox are the untouchables there. There's a lot of talk about Kevin Huerter, Harrison Barnes being moved. Malik Monk is leaving in free agency. They've got Keegan Murray, who's, sorry, by the way, he's also untouchable. Small forward. He plays power forward at times. This is challenging because they could use a backup point guard. They could use a lot of different type of players here. They need a center as well. But there's also been rumors that they will sign JV as well. I'm going to go with, you know what? I'm gonna go with Devin Carter here. I'm gonna go with Devin Carter. I like this for them because you need someone coming off the bench. Again, they've got so much talent, but it just seems like they're going nowhere. And especially for a player like Davion Mitchell, who's been such a disappointment with respect to him, just it has not been there for them. So Devin Carter, a really good selection for them, comes in when De'Aaron Fox isn't playing, comes in, provides some really good quality minutes, can run the bench unit as well, can play with some of the starters as well. So excellent. Again, as you see, they're excellent rebounder for his size, average 8.7 rebounds, distributed the ball as well, shot the ball really well from the field, and averaged nearly 20 points a game. He's also a little bit more mature, so it's not as if you have an 18, 19-year-old coming in, he's 21 years old, so he's going to come in and help them a lot. All right, so now we are at the Portland Trail Blazers once again. They drafted Dalton Knecht last time. Who will they draft this time? If I'm the Portland Trail Blazers, I am absolutely excited that Tejan Salon is still on the board here. I am taking him without hesitation. They need a little bit more size. As I said, he's a little bit of a project, but that's okay. His ceiling is high, and with respect to the Portland Trail Blazers, they aren't exactly winning right now, so it doesn't hurt them if they're bad for the next year, which is a stack draft. I'm taking Tejan Salon here. So again, good choice for them. You got Dalton Knecht, who they drafted with their previous pick, someone that comes in to score, and then there's Tejan Salon that can provide size, but can be a great defender as well. Gives them a lot more size, 6'10" guy. I love that pick. And if I'm the Portland Trail Blazers, I'm absolutely jumping up and down if I come out of this draft with those two guys. All right, the Miami Heat. This is fascinating because now we are at 15th pick and Nikola Topic is still here. You got some other guys as well that could be very, very intriguing. And Tyler Smith could be intriguing. Yves Missi, Kalel Ware as well. You've got some very, very fascinating players when you go down this list here. This is hard to predict what they'll do. I know they've got Tyler Hero. I personally have been a huge, huge fan of Nikola Jovic, excuse me. Would they potentially draft a point guard here? I'm not so sure. I would really actually really like Nikola Topic here. I think it would make a lot of sense for them. But you know what? It might be a little bit of a hot take. I'm gonna do it, guys. I'm gonna do it. I think they take Tyler Smith here. Provides a little bit more floor spacing for them. I mean, 6'10" guy, he can play power forward, small forward. They absolutely can. I mean, when you look at their power forward position, you got Kevin Love there. They're forced to play Jimmy Butler there as well. So Tyler Smith needs some work. It provides them with a little bit more size. It seems like they're a little bit better in the backcourt than they are at the front court. They got Bam there, and Tyler Smith would be a nice pickup for them because he can play the power forward position. You can play him with Bam Adebayo, who doesn't necessarily space the floor. You got Tyler Smith there, who does a great job of hitting 3-point shots. And you also got Jimmy Butler there as well, who spaces the floor for you. So that's a nice pick. I know a lot of people may not like this. He would have gone somewhere else. Now you got the 76ers with the 16th pick. This is very fascinating because a lot of guys are still on the board that you may not have guessed. I don't think the 76ers draft Topic here. Just again, I know people are going to be astounded at the fact that he's still on the board. I don't see Nikola Topic being here. He's going to be someone that's probably not going to be ready to start the season. And you want guys that are ready to contribute now for a team like the 76ers. I'm tempted to go draft a center here. Joel Embiid, we know he has his injury issues. There's rumors they're going to go out and sign potentially Paul George there as well. But you know who I'm taking here? And I think this is an excellent pick for them as well. I am going to go with Deron Holmes here. They have always liked some of the bigger guys. He's listed as a power forward, 6'10" guy. Absolutely amazing pick for them. You got Tyrese Maxey there. You got Joel Embiid that both have the ball a lot in their hands. And then you got Deron Holmes who can come in, absolutely shoot the ball really well. He's a great floor spacer for you here. He's also, I mean, look, 20 points, 8.5 rebounds. What more do you need? So he's someone that could be a great pickup for them. I like this pick for them because Joel Embiid, whether he can shoot threes, it doesn't really matter because then you'll have Deron Holmes that can space the floor, get defenders out of the paint. It allows Tyrese to really attack the basket as well. So personally, if I'm the 76ers that come up with Deron Holmes, I'm excited. I love this pick for them. Now we come on to the Lakers. Now, a lot of people are saying I am disrespecting certain guys here. And it sounds ludicrous to see that there's guys like Jacoby Walters here. There's guys like Isaiah Collier still on the board. And heck, even Kalal Ware. So if I am the Los Angeles Lakers, Who do I take? They need a bigger center because let's be honest, there aren't really any big centers on the market that the Lakers can afford to pay. They're not going to get Isaiah Hartenstein. OKC will simply pay him more. And that personally, just I think that role works out so much better for him in OKC than the Lakers. I'm going to go with something that may surprise a lot of people. You said I was disrespecting Zach Edey last draft because I drafted him with the 30th position. I really liked him here, but I did not have the selection for the Lakers last time. I'm going to go with Zach Edey here. Now, before people murder me in the comment section or say he should have gone higher, lower, whatever the case is, hear me out, guys. He's someone that can set picks really well. And when you think about it, I'm not saying Zach Edey is going to come in and stop someone like a Joel Embiid. He's not going to come in and start Nikola Jokic. Definitely not. But to have that type of size, 7'4", and to move as well as he does, I know he's a little bit slow-footed. There's definitely some concerns about him, but no one is asking Zach Edey to come in and play 30, 35 minutes a game. You need him in certain very specific matchups. And Zach Edey is an absolute monster. When you look at his weight, you look at his height, you look at his wingspan, he is an absolute beast. So regardless of how you may feel about him, I think there's definitely a lot of benefits for a team like the Lakers, who, by the way, have come out and said they're going to be looking at their center position. Zach Edey is someone that can come and play 15, 20 minutes a game with certain matchups and do a decent job. I'm not saying he's going to be Rudy Gobert and win Defensive Player of the Year. He's definitely not that, but I like this pick for the Lakers a lot, a ton. Good rebounder. The Lakers need more rebounding always. And I like this, man. He can set picks. He's a big center. That's all you need for the Lakers right now. You can go out and always sign out guys like KCP or other guys. I'm not suggesting they do, but you can always go out and sign these type of guards. So that's my logic behind choosing someone like a Zach Edey. We are moving on to the Orlando Magic now. I gotta be honest with you guys. I can't keep letting Nikola Topic drop like this. This is getting absolutely insane. But what position are the Orlando Magic in? Like, are they going to wait another year or two? I think they can afford to wait. This would be an interesting spot. Not saying the best spot for Nikola Topic, a very interesting spot for them because they've got Anthony Black, who's also a very large point guard, 6'7" guy who can't shoot. They've got other guys there as well. Cole Anthony, I don't know what they're doing with him. Then they got Jalen Suggs, who's a really good defensive guard as well. He did a tremendous job here. This seems ludicrous not to choose Nikola Topic, and man, I'm just sorry if you guys are Nikola Topic fans. He's not going to drop this low, but I'm trying to think of logics behind why I can choose him to certain teams. You know what? I'm gonna call me crazy. I'm gonna go Jacoby Walters here. I've seen him mocked to Orlando so many times. I'm getting tired of it. But when you think about what Jacoby Walters provides, he's a shooting guard. He's someone that can shoot threes, and they need a lot of 3-point shooters as well, similarly to how a lot of teams do, right? Surround your star players with 3-point shooting and Paolo Banchero. Again, you can't really argue against that, man. You can't argue against that. Jacoby Walters to the Orlando Magic just makes a ton of sense. Ton of sense. He's listed at 6'5" there. So now we come to the Toronto Raptors. Do they need a point guard? I mean, they have Emmanuel Quickly. It could be very fascinating for them. But they also do have a coach that likes to play basketball in a very specific way. He likes players that can move the ball and make smart decisions. So do the Raptors potentially take Nikola Topic here? Let's see here. They do need a backup position for the point guard position. And who is their head coach? Darko Rajakovic. Where is he from? From Serbia. Where is Nikola Topic from? Serbia. So I'm going to go here and draft Nikola Topic to the Toronto Raptors. This seems like a good pick for the Raptors. Now, hear me out because there are some intriguing players that you could go with. You could go with Kalal, where he's Missy. You can go with some of the other guys listed below as well. I think this is just good for a team like the Raptors, even though they said they want to win now rather than later. They can afford to rehab Nikola Topic. They also have some of the best medical staff in the NBA. Let's not forget what they did with Kawhi Leonard. And during that championship run, the one that created, all those days off for him, and then the NBA's followed suit. So Nikola Topic, they can afford to wait for him to heal a little. He's a very young player, moves the ball exceptionally well. He's also a taller point guard. So it gives the Toronto Raptors a different type of point guard, a 6'7" guy. Emmanuel Quickly is listed at 6'3". Also, when you look at the games, it's a little bit more different. Nikola Topic is a pass-first point guard, whereas Emmanuel Quickly is kind of a score-first guard as well. So you can potentially play them together as well. And I really, really believe Nikola Topic's game. will really he'll really come into his own into the NBA. It won't be one of those picks where you're questioning whether he can perform at the NBA level. As long as he can pass the ball, I feel like a lot of players that come from Europe that can pass the ball perform fairly well in the NBA as well. So great pick for the Raptors. Surprised Nikola Topic fell here. I don't think he will. I just have a hard time just really having Nikola Topic should go some of the other teams listed above, like the 76ers, like the Lakers, because they're trying to win now, right? So let's talk about the Cleveland Cavaliers. There's a lot of questions around them as well. What are they going to do with someone like a Jared Allen? They want to play Evan Mobley at the center position. Is Donovan Mitchell coming back? Are they moving Darius Garland? Well, they said they're not going to move Darius Garland or Jared Allen. So what could they use here? This could be very fascinating because you could go a few certain ways here. I really like Yves Missi or Kalel Ware for them, but just given how they already have Jared Allen, they have Evan Mobley, they want to play at the center position. Does it really make sense for a team like someone like the Cavaliers to draft another center that they kind of already have? And I'm not comparing the two, but Evan Mobley, that mobile center, those skinny centers that you could use. I don't know. I'm going to scroll down the list here a little bit more. I'm tempted to go Isaiah Collier here, but I don't know if it makes sense. He won't get enough minutes. They definitely could use a little bit more defense here. You know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to go Johnny Furphy here. I think it makes a lot of sense for them. Good three-point shooter, provides a lot of good size for them, 6'9" as well. Look, it's a match made in heaven, right? I think with a team like the Cleveland Cavaliers, you already got ball handlers in Darius Garland. You got ball handler in Donovan Mitchell, which he is there for the time being. So we'll assume he'll be there with them next season. And then you also got Evan Mobley, who needs more touches as well. So I think Johnny Furphy is a good guy to have there and shoot the ball, and you need more shooters when you got so many good ball handlers as well. So I like this pick for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Moving on here, the New Orleans Pelicans. Now, this is a very fascinating team because they're not going to re-sign Jonas Valanciunas because their logic behind it is because they want a different type of center, despite the fact that Jonas Valanciunas spaces the floor for them as well. They're also potentially going to trade Brandon Ingram here as well. They've got a few options here that could be really nice players for them. I'm scrolling down the list just to make sure we haven't lost any players. I remember last time, I can't remember if it was Deron Holmes. They had him at 44th. Yeah, I think this is a no-brainer here. You have to absolutely go with someone like a Kalel Ware. Skinny center, can block shots, has floor spacing potential. That is exactly the type of center that the Pelicans need. Yes, there's been some questions about his work ethic and his defense as well. But look, you got rim protection there. If he develops that three-point shot, what else do you need to pair up with someone like a Zion Williamson who really needs to operate in the paint, right? Despite the fact that he can shoot some threes as well, to have that ability, that's someone that any team around the NBA will use. And I can tell you, watching this entire playoffs, this is a skill set. And do not be surprised if Kel'el Ware goes a little bit higher than this as well. But I'm drafting Kel'el Ware to the Pelicans. I think this is an excellent pick for them. He's still very young as well. So it's going to take some time for him to develop. He can come in, provide some good minutes. We'll see what the Pelicans do, though. They've got a lot of questions surrounding that team, so it'll be fascinating. All right, so now we're moving on to the Phoenix Suns here. Now, this again is very interesting because their owner, Matt Ishbia, I believe, said that they don't need a point guard, but it's quite obvious that they need a point guard there. Now, do I potentially go with Carlton Carrington here? I think this is a no-brainer. I'm tempted to go use Missy there, but when you think about it, they got Yusuf Nurkic. I know he's not the best center, but what options do they have? They gave up all their picks. Their cap space, they're absolutely maxed out. So I think they need a point guard that can really come and distribute the ball as well. You got Kevin Durant there, Bradley Beal, Devin Booker. They can all shoot. Also, just I think they desperately need a point guard. They need someone to run the second unit. And despite what their owner may believe, these guys are getting old up there, man. Kevin Durant's old, Bradley Beal's old, and Carlton Carrington is a good player for them. 6'5" point guard, average 13.8 points, 4.1 assists, 5.2, excuse me, rebound. He's someone that is a freshman, won't be able to contribute as much as some of the other guys. He is an excellent pick for them. He's got a lot of talent. He can distribute the ball and just provides a lot of size for them, right? So there's rumors they'll trade that pick. We'll see what happens. And you can definitely argue there's some other guys you can mock here as well. Now we move on to I was about to see the San Antonio Bucks. Excuse me, guys. As I said, I'm really tired and I really want to take a nap. I really want to bring you guys this mock video as well. I love doing these. So we've got the Milwaukee Bucks here. They might lose. They might lose Pat Bev, and we know how much he really helped them during the playoffs as well. So their point guard depth isn't great. I mean, behind Damian Lillard, who's also been injured often, he's getting up there in age. You could definitely argue with some of the other guys as well here. Use Missy, maybe even Kyle Filipowski, although I don't think that's a great pick for them. But I'm going to go with Isaiah Collier here, a really good defensive guy that can come in. I'm not going to say he's going to lock down other players. I think that's kind of bold of anyone to say for rookies. Yes, there's certain guys like Wembanyama that can come and have the impact, but those are unicorn players. Isaiah Collier is going to be a really good bench player for them in the future, but he's someone that provides good defense for them. He's also someone that attacks the basket. He's young, yes, but they're going to lose Pat Beverly. They definitely could use more defense. They have enough offense there with Damian and Giannis being there, and then good complementary role players is exactly what they need. So I really like Isaiah Collier, and I think a team like the Bucks would be absolutely thrilled for them to still have Isaiah still on the board. Now this is going to be fun because the Knicks have back-to-back picks. I don't know if they'll keep him. They might trade him, but there's also a lot of rumors that they might lose Isaiah Hartenstein to the OKC Thunder. Now, scrolling through their roster here, I don't think Precious Achiuwa is coming back. And if you're losing Isaiah Hartenstein, then you've only got an injured Mitchell Robinson. You got Julius Randle, who's the power forward. But then all of a sudden, you need a little bit more size at the center position. And you wonder what's going to happen with guys like Jericho Sims. I don't really view him as a long-term future there. I'm going to go with Yves Missy here, an athletic center here. They could definitely use that. Very mobile. They can always use defense, and they got Tibbs there, who loves guys that can play defense. This would be a great pickup for them. Yves Missy, a lob threat. You got Jalen Brunson there, who's a great passer, great shot creator. And I think just having that pair with them, imagine Yves Missy rolling to the basket after setting a pick, and Jalen Brunson either taking a jump shot there or giving it up for the lob to use Missy. They're going to need a little bit more depth at the center position. So I like this pick for the New York Knicks. Provides a lot of defense for them. And with the 25th pick here, we've got the New York Knicks once again. There's a lot of fascinating players here. I really, really like these guys. Some of these guys, I'm tempted to just draft them. This is going to be tough because they've got a lot of guys that can play the shooting guard position. They got Josh Hart there. He can play small forward as well. Then you got Dante DiVincenzo. Absolute marvelous playoff run. You got Miles McBride, who showed a lot of potential during the playoff run as well. I'm tempted to, you know what? I'm going to do it, guys. I'm going to go Kevin McCullough here, 6'7" small forward. There's talks that I'm not saying it's going to happen. There's talks that OG Anunoby wasn't happy with the New York Knicks offer and then he will test free agency. But look, Kevin McCullough, he's one of the older senior draft players that's coming in, 22 years old. He's a really intelligent player. I like him. He can score, he can rebound, as you see, and he can pass as well. And when you look at some of the things he's able to do offensively, it really fits in with what the New York Knicks want. So I like this pick for the Knicks. He's a smart player. He'll be a great bench piece for them as well. And especially with the injuries around Bojan. And if OG were to leave, I'm not saying hey, you're going to get Kevin McCullough coming here, but and filling in those shoes, but someone that can just come in and play, a really good player off the bench. Moving on to the Washington Wizards here. We drafted Alexander Sarr, excuse me, not Star, Alexander Sarr with the second overall pick. They could still use more. They could still use more depth at the center position, man. They could still use it, but I'm gonna go with a different type of player here. I'm tempted to go Keyshawn George, but you know what? I'm going to do. Call me crazy. I'm deciding between two players here. I'm going to go with Terrence Shannon Jr. here. I was trying to say his name. I was reading another name. Terrence Shannon Jr. here. I really like his game. He's got a lot of quickness. He's a shooting guard, mind you. He's listed as a shooting guard. He's listed at 6'7". He's a little bit on the older side. He's 22 years old. But for a team like the Wizards and with a 22nd pick, I mean, can you really, or 26th pick, excuse me, you can't really expect a lot. So I like Terrence Shannon Jr. there. It is what it is. It's not the best pick, but it's someone that you could develop potentially into a good role player. Moving on to a team like the Minnesota Timberwolves, who had an absolute fabulous run to the playoffs. They could go a few different options here. They could go Tyler Kolak. They need some depth at the point guard position. Mike Conley's getting older, and they don't really have a lot of depth at the point guard position. And they can also go Keyshawn George as well, who's been rumored to be, a really, really good passer as well, based on what I heard. His stats may not necessarily show it. He's listed at 6'8". Whether he'll be a point guard, I don't know. He's listed as shooting guard. I don't know if that's him. I'm gonna go with the safer pick for the Timberwolves here. I'm not saying this is the best pick. I'm gonna go with the safer pick here. I'm going with Jalen Tyson here for the Timberwolves. I think, or so excuse me, Tyler Kolak here for a team like the Minnesota Timberwolves, senior player that can come in, help them right away, so they're not waiting 3, 4 years for this player to develop. And mind you, it's late in the NBA draft, although they did get Jaden McDaniels here, so you never know. I like Tyler Kolak. He's got a respectable game. His game reminds me a lot of TJ McConnell. He's not going to be a superstar. He's never going to be an all-star player. Never say never, but I just, when you view his game, he seems like an intelligent player who's going to come in, provide good numbers for you, good quality minutes, similar to how TJ McConnell did on the Pacers as well. Just a backup guard, does play the game the right way, and those are the kind of players you need. And mind you, like I said, they need more depth at the point guard position. Mike Conley's getting older as well, and they need a ball distributor as well. And he's a good passer, as you see there. So moving on to our next pick here, this is interesting. This is one of the more interesting teams because former defending champions, they lost. They have a lot of needs. I wouldn't say holes in the roster because they got a good roster, but like with many teams, they are kind of capped off. They can't just go out and sign any guy here. But you could argue they need help in a lot of different positions. Now, I'm looking for a very specific player, and although he's listed down a little bit further down, I'm going to do it. I'm going to go with, when I think about it, Baylor Shireman makes too much sense for a team like the Denver Nuggets. He's a player that is older, like a lot of the guys in the NBA draft, and this year's NBA draft at least, 22 years old, but he is able to do some amazing things. When you watch his highlights, he is able to distribute the ball. He can rebound as well there. Look at those rebounds, 9 rebounds a game. He can score in multiple ways. And when you look at the way the Denver Nuggets play their offense, they move the ball a lot. They need shooters, always could use shooters. Baylor Shireman is, I don't want to say the perfect player, but for me, it seems like a really, really good fit along with Nikola Topic, or excuse me, not Nikola Topic. There's so many Nikolas, I'm mixing them up, excuse me. Nikola Jokic and then Jamal Murray. And then they could definitely use a little bit more floor spacing with Aaron Gordon being there as well. So I think this is good pick for them. Moves the ball. He really actually moves the ball, moves off the ball really well. And then he's a smart player when you watch some of his highlights. The way he moves the ball, the way he has very flashy passes, it complements Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray far, far too good. And he's even a player that can come off the bench, really, really do a good job of providing quality minutes for you. Some similar to some of these other senior guys as well. So I think this is a really nice pickup for them. All right, we are moving on to a team like the Utah Jazz. And I think this is where we finally get Kyle Filipowski. I think. I'm going to go through a list here. They got Taylor Hendricks, who's kind of supposed to be a power forward. They got Walker Kessler. I'm tempted to change my mind here, guys. It's kind of hard to predict at the end of this late of this draft. You don't know who's going to go where. You kind of just got to go with one of the 3, 4 guys just listed here. Even Jalen Tyson, I personally find to be a really fascinating player. I will talk about him in a second as well. You know what? Ryan Dunn does provide a lot of defense for them as well. Keyshawn George could be a really interesting player, but I mean, when you look at the roster, they already got a Key George there, Keontae George. They got some of the other guys. They got good building blocks, but I don't know if there's a player here that's really great for them. You know what? Screw it. I'm going to go Kyle Filipowski, man. I'm going to go Kyle Filipowski. Might not be the sexiest name, might not be a pick that a lot of Jazz fans or a lot of people agree with. My reasoning behind this is John Collins isn't going to be there long term. Lauri Markkanen is, obviously Walker Kessler is, but then you have different types of centers. I see this as a Raptors fan that saw Marc Gasol and Serge Ibaka, do such a good job. And anytime with different teams, when you run into different types of matchups in the playoffs, it allows you to play different types of players. Kyle Filipowski can stretch the floor. Unlike Walker Kessler, I mean, I think he shot a few threes. He's not really a stretch floor. When you look at Kyle Filipowski, yes, his measurements came in small. Good rebounder, can really, really pass a lot more than he'll get credit for, but he can score as well. I think it's one of those players that will be overlooked. And then when it does come to him actually playing on a good team with a good system, he'll look really good in it because he could be a really good system player. So I'm going with Kyle Filipowski here. Again, might not be the sexiest pick, but I get it, guys. All right. Now, as much as I hate to see this, the defending champions, who do you choose here? Do you go by the upside? Do you potentially add another Jalen to the team. Jalen Tyson is a player I am really, really intrigued by, and he's definitely going to be someone that's going to go in the first round, late first round. Bobby Clintman's a good player as well, fascinating player, gives him a little bit more size here. You could definitely make the argument for Boston choosing someone like a Bobby Clintman here. I mean, come in, it needs a little bit more work. I'm gonna go with Jalen Tyson. It just everything about him screams, excuse me, so much about a Boston Celtics type of player. I've saw a lot of his highlights. He is quick. He doesn't look like a 6'7" guy when he's out there, and for some reason, it's not showing his stats here. I wish I had his stats here up for you, but he's someone that just he attacks the basket really well. He's someone that plays with a lot of speed, and I can't remember at the moment a lot of former Celtics players that they have drafted. One plays for the Indiana Pacers that's slipping my mind right now. But you think of guys when they draft these guards, shooting guards, small forwards, they just seem to do such a good job. So Jalen Tyson, no doubt, 6'7" guy, 215. Great pickup for the Boston Celtics. Also, you could argue some of the other guys can go in this draft as well. And since this is a Raptors channel, I'm going to give you a bonus pick here with the 31st pick in the NBA draft. The Toronto Raptors select Nikola Jurcic. Shout out to Japanese Jafar on Twitter. He kept posting a lot of his highlights. And when you look at the way someone like a Nikola Jurcic scores multiple ways, it's just fascinating. 3-point shots, there definitely seems to be some sort of shot creation ability there. And of course, when you got guys like superstars or all-stars, they're great. A lot of them are good shot creators. But if you're able to get someone a tier lower than that can create shots for you, man, I'd take that in a heartbeat. But anyways, these are my picks, guys. Let me know. I definitely made a lot of controversial picks here. I know you guys will let me in the comments section. I'm very curious to hear if you don't like, let's say, Tristan da Silva to Chicago Bulls, who would you have gone there with the remaining players? I'm very intrigued to hear your thoughts as well. So that will be it for today's video. If you're still watching, guys, hit the subscribe button. I really appreciate it. I'm about to lose my voice here. I really, really do appreciate you guys watching this. It means a lot. And I hope you guys have yourselves a great day.